Live on YouTube, which is pretty cool. So we're across the board, man. Here it is, the weekly shred. My name is Jim Schultz with F Cubed, and I appreciate you guys, man. I appreciate you guys so much. What we are going to do is we are going to talk about where you guys can actually hear me, how to feel amazing every day in 10 minutes. And I'm going to try to keep this to about 10 or 12 minutes. I am going to share with you guys a little three-pronged strategy that I use myself for recovery, for rehab, and then just overall recharge, man. Like just overall like feeling better. And I kid you not, if you follow what I'm going to show you guys today, kind of over and above your normal workouts, right? All the training that you're doing, in the den, under your kitchen table, down in the basement these days. This is going to really help you feel just a million times better. So, all right, so here we go. So, I wanted to go to the next slide. So let's go to the next slide. All right, here's step one. Step one, this is the granddaddy of them all, man. This is it. Myofascial release, right? Let me know down in the comments, man. If you're on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, doesn't even matter. Let me know. Have you guys ever done myofascial release before? Have you ever even heard of myofascial release before? What myofascial release basically is it's what happens when you go get a massage. Like, it's what happens when you go have your massage therapist, kind of work out the kinks in your body. Now, hey, let's be real, man. I mean, it's COVID-19 days. Ain't nobody going to get a massage these days, right? Ain't nobody going to get a massage next week, next month. Like, it's not going to happen. So we've got to rely on, these bootstrap methods, right? Like, we've got to figure out a way to, achieve the same thing. Plus, even if, there was no coronavirus, getting massage all the time can be really, really pricey, right? So the first step in this little three-step process is myofascial release. And here's the basic idea. With myofascial release, we're going to break up the soft tissue kind of in your body. We're going to kind of work through those knots. Now, you can use, this is what a foam roller does. You can use a tennis ball or a lacrosse ball. You can use a stick, right? I actually have an item. I'm going to show it to you guys here in a second. It's called The Stick, right? And I'm going to link to these down below. If you guys are on Facebook or YouTube, I have plenty of room in the description, so I'm going to put links to this lacrosse ball and this stick if you guys want to check them out. If you guys are on Twitter, then you're SOL, man. I only got 140 characters to work with, and that real estate is too valuable to be burning up on links to lacrosse balls and sticks. But nevertheless, you guys can figure this out, on your own. But whether you're using a foam roller, whether you're using a lacrosse ball, whether you're using a stick, right? The whole idea here, the objective, is you want to explore. You want to seek out the trigger points, right? You want to figure out, all right, I'm working on this area of my body, right? It works really well on the areas of your body where you've had, problems, where you feel some pain, where you feel some stiffness, right? You are kind of looking, kind of searching, trying to find, all right, where is that sensitive area? That's the area that you've got to work out. That's the area that needs your time and it needs your attention, right? You kind of want to, elicit that kind of hurt so good feeling where it's like, man, this is doing a little bit of pain. Like, I kind of think this might be doing more damage than it is doing good. That's exactly what you want. When you feel that way, like, you're right where you want to be. Now, let me share a little story with y'all about my history with myofascial release. Some of you who have, been consuming my content for years now, God bless you, man. You may have heard this. You may have already heard this before. But nevertheless, so a few years ago, it's probably 4 or 5 years ago now, I actually injured my neck really, really badly. I've been training now for 20 years, and, by God's grace alone, I can assure you, I haven't really sustained any major injuries. I've had some nicks and some dings along the way. But I hurt my neck deadlifting one day, and it was one of the most serious injuries, if not the most serious injury that I have sustained. I was just doing like regular deadlifts, nothing crazy, and I just had this searing pain that shot up from the back of my neck up to like the front of my skull, and I had never experienced anything like this before in my life. So basically, for the next 15 to 18 months, it just continually caused me problems. It obviously forced me out of the gym for some periods of time. I had to change around the way that I trained. It was really a huge wrench in the works. And I mean, I tried to rehab it myself. I tried to stretch it. I tried to strengthen it. I went to see specialists. Like I got vitamin B shots in my neck. Like I did everything, right? The kit and caboodle. Then I was actually on a plane ride, flying to Chicago, mind you, to interview for Tasty Trade, which of course is where I work now. And I was sitting next to a massage therapist, right? And we struck up a conversation. And as we started talking, I was like, all right, let me do what I normally do. I'm going to, dump all my burdens and all my problems on this really innocent, nice stranger. And I'm going to see if she can help me. So it turns out she was super nice and super innocent, and she was great. Like, she was like, I really think what you need to do is you need to do some myofascial release. She's like, because in my experience, 95% of injuries are the result of soft tissue buildup. Now, she started using all kinds of fancy terms and all kinds of technical jargon that I can't remember and I didn't understand at the time. But the basic idea was she was like, we need to work out that soft tissue. I'm going to show you how to do it when we land in the terminal. And then if you stick with it, I think your neck's going to feel a lot better. Well, long story short, she did myofascial release on my neck, and then she told me, get a lacrosse ball. Start with a tennis ball, and then get a lacrosse ball, and go up against the wall, and your neck's going to feel a million times better. Well, I did that. I trusted her, and about 2 or 3 weeks later, my neck started feeling a million times better. And now today, it's basically, fully healed. And so, it's unbelievable. If you're not doing myofascial release, man, seriously, you need to be doing this. You got to be doing this. If you don't want to do all 3 steps in the process I'm going to share with you guys today, which is kind of crazy because it's so simple and it's so easy, I would at least do step 1. I would at least do the myofascial release stuff. And it's just, if you have a nagging injury, it could be the thing that takes you from being hurt to being healed. It could be the thing that takes you from, feeling 50% to feeling 90 to 95 to 100%. And so I would absolutely do that. So let me show you guys my stick and my ball. So I have them right next to me. So check this out, man. So these are our two props today. So again, I'm linking to these down below in the description. The lacrosse ball, you can get a 2-pack on Amazon for like $8 or $9. This stick, it comes in different sizes. I actually have 2. This is like the marathon version, and I also have the travel size that I keep in my gym bag, which is just a little bit shorter. These guys are amazing, man. So here's what you can do with the lacrosse ball. Obviously, I can't show you because the way I'm set up here in my studio, you guys can't really appreciate this because of the vantage point that you have. But trust me, there is no room in here. Like, I barely have any room on either side. There's crap everywhere, and so I can't demonstrate this for you. But if you just take this ball and like lean up against a wall, you can do it on your neck, you can do it on your shoulder, you can do it on your chest, you can do it on like all the way down your mid back, upper back, all that stuff. You can put the ball on the ground and like sit on it for your glutes or your hamstrings. You can roll over on it for your quads, and it would just be absolutely amazing. Then you can use this guy right here. Use this for your forearms. Use it for like your traps. Like I constantly am like rolling out my traps, kind of as such. You can use this for your quads and your calves. And so these 2 things, will total you about $30, $35 investment. It would be an unbelievable investment for you when it comes to longevity. Now we're only on step 1, right? Thankfully, steps 2 and 3 aren't going to require any expense on your account, so that's a positive thing. But this is step 1, myofascial release. I'll kind of give you guys an action item when we get done today. That's kind of how we round out these weekly shreds. And so, that's coming on down the line. But this is going to be step 1. All right, so step 2. Let's do it, man. So, man, my audio's coming through. It's a whole new world, man. I went 25 minutes last night. I had no idea my audio was out. So I'm just a total bonehead like that. So step 2 is dynamic stretching. So this is something that I just started taking seriously probably in the last 3 or 4 weeks. I've been doing myofascial release for a while. I've been doing static stretching for a while, but I've just started getting really serious about dynamic stretching, and this has taken me up another level. This has taken me to where I'm like, wow, I actually think, like for me personally, my hamstring might finally be healed. Basically, what we're going to do is we're going to move our joints and our muscles through a range of motion. So it's different from static stretching in the sense that obviously static stretching, you're just holding it for some period of time. When you do dynamic stretching, there's a lot more motion involved. There's a lot more mobility involved. Again, I don't have an expansive repertoire of dynamic stretches for you guys here today. Even if I did, I can't really demo these for you for all the reasons I mentioned a couple of seconds ago. But if you just Google blank dynamic stretches, you're gonna be able to figure it out. Right? Like you're gonna be able to find some decent dynamic stretches. You know, hamstring dynamic stretches, neck dynamic stretches. You know, if you need help, let me know. Right? Drop me a comment below. You can always email me, down below there, just jschultzf3@gmail. Hit me up on social media. I mean, I'd be happy to point you in the right direction. There's a guy by the name of John Russin, Rusin, who this is sort of his specialty in terms of like functional training and rehabbing injuries and stuff like that. If you Google, hamstring dynamic stretch John Russin, you're probably going to find some really good material. If you Google, quadricep dynamic stretch John Russin, you're probably going to find some really good material. So that will help you. The key here that I want you guys to focus on is I want you guys to focus on your limits. You guys need to focus on, you don't need to become, Gumby today, right? For all my 80s kids out there, 70s kids, like 60s kids out there. You don't need to become like, just super flexible today, right? Like if you haven't done this in a while, you're going to be stiff, man. Like you're going to be stiff. Like you're going to feel like porcelain in a lot of ways. So just push the envelope slightly. You don't need to go crazy with it, right? Just, do, dynamic stretching back and forth, doing things, it depends on the stretch actually, but, whether you're at, 8 to 10 seconds, per side or, depending on what the stretch actually is and the motion involved. But, anywhere from usually 8 to like 30 seconds for a dynamic stretch is a pretty good, I know that's a pretty wide range, but, if you can't do very much right now, start with really small goals, man. Do like 8, 9, 10 seconds, right? Do this after you do myofascial release, right? So it's a process, right? And you want to follow this in order. You do the myofascial release, you break up the soft tissue, right? You get nice and warmed up, you're kind of getting some blood to the area, all right? You then move into a dynamic stretch on the same area, right? Now you're increasing the flexibility. Now you're improving the mobility, right? And then you bring it all home with the granddaddy of them all, kind of old faithful here. Static stretching, man. Right? It has a place. It has a home. I know it catches a bad rap, in, some of the research that's out there, some of the evidence that's out there, some of what a lot of people have kind of, led themselves to believe or just kind of bootstrapped themselves to believe either through, theoretical understanding or their own experience. Static stretching kind of gets a bad rap, but I think that's because it's not put in its proper place. And, with your muscles and joints thoroughly warm, static stretching can be a great thing for your, exercise routine, for this protocol. Because now, a lot of the problems with static stretching are when you try to stretch statically when you are cold, right? Like when you are just getting, it's not a great way to warm up. If you're going to warm up, then I would do the mild stuff. I would do the dynamic stuff, amongst maybe some other things. But it's not a great thing to do at the beginning of a training session. It's a lot better suited either after you train or on the tail end of like this little process that we're going through, here today. So, holding that end position of the dynamic stretch for 20 to 60 seconds is a great way to go ahead and do that. And again, the key here is that it's last, right? The key here is it is, kind of the final train and the final car on the train. It is the caboose, right? That's the most important part here. And so you do myofascial release, you do dynamic stretching, you do static stretching. All right, this is the three-pronged process. And I'm telling you guys, like seriously, you're going to feel amazing. Like you're going to email me in like 2 weeks. You're going to email me in like 3 weeks. You might email me later today. You're going to be like, dude, I feel incredible. Like I ordered it on Amazon. It arrived 45 minutes later, obviously, because it's an essential item. And so you're going to be able to get right into this and you're going to feel incredible, man. And this, of course, is like outside of your normal training, right? So you're getting your training in. You're doing the best you can, obviously now, which is a separate discussion altogether. But you're going to feel really, really good. So here's your action item, man. And then we'll let you guys get on with your Good Friday today. Praise Jesus, man. The Lord and the King. So slide 5 out of 5. Action item. So spend 5 minutes daily working through this sequence. I would pick the one area of your body that you're thinking, man, if this can really help with fill in the blank, that would be amazing. That's the area that you need to focus on. That's what I want you to do. I want to go for the jugular, man. I want to get the biggest bang for the buck here today. I want you, if it's your neck, then it's your neck. If it's your shoulder, then it's your shoulder. If it's your back, then it's your back. If it's your, hip, then it's your hip. If it's your quadricep, then it's your quadricep. If it's your IT band, wherever your IT band is, then it's your IT band, right? You can figure that out. Of course, again, Google IT band, John Russin, you're all set. You can use this. You can use this as a warm-up, a cool-down, or a standalone. Now, what I'm talking about here today is really kind of a standalone thing, but you could, of course, start to incorporate some of these elements into your regular training routine, right? Again, I wouldn't do a ton of static stretching before you train. I would focus on the myo stuff. I would focus on the dynamic stretching, and then maybe do some like mobility work, some mobility drills, and that kind of stuff to get your system ready and amped to train. After you're done training, then you can do the static stuff. But you can weave this stuff in, at any point in time. And I'm not kidding, man. We're talking 6 minutes. Do 2 minutes of myofascial release, right? Where, like, for example, let's say you were doing your neck. Like, let me give you guys, like, a legitimate example, kind of. Well, let me do my hamstring, because that's actually what I'm doing right now with this three-pronged approach. That's a better example, because I'm kind of in the thick of it right now. So I sit on the ball, right? And I kind of roll up and down my glute/hamstring area. And I'm searching for the spots where I'm like, ooh, man, that really freaking hurts. Like, that's the spot you need to hang at for, like, I don't know, usually like 6, 7, 8 seconds, something like that. Then I go on, I find another spot, right? I'm searching for these spots. It usually takes me about 90 seconds, maybe 2 minutes. The next thing I do is I do some dynamic stretches for my hamstrings, which for me is, again, I can't demonstrate this, but I'm standing up against the wall. My stance is kind of staggered with my front knee bent, and I kind of rock back and forth, kind of stretching out that back hamstring. And then I sit. I do that for, probably a minute, maybe 45 seconds, and then I sit in the static, in the end range position as my static stretch for about 45 or 60 seconds. It literally takes me 4 minutes to do my hamstring. Now, I do other things, right? I work on other areas of my body too, but that's the one area that I'm trying to improve. And I'm telling you guys, man, like, I injured my hamstring a few years ago, also deadlifting. Maybe I should stop deadlifting. Maybe that's the takeaway. Maybe that's my action item today. I don't know. But haven't been able to deadlift in a couple of years because it just continually bothers my hamstring. But I finally swallowed my pride. I went and saw a physical therapist. He helped me kind of think through a lot of this to give me some ideas for, this kind of three-pronged sequence and with the dynamic stretches and stuff. And for the first time ever, man, I think it's the product of the myo stuff. I think it's the product of the dynamic stuff and the static stuff. And I think putting them in this order just makes a ton of sense. Now, it could also be the fact that, I'm relegated to doing, band good mornings in my den, just like you all are doing. And so the fact that I don't have a heavy load on my hamstrings could also be playing a role, allowing the muscles to heal, which, hey, that's a silver lining, right? That's a huge benefit of this quarantine, which, it's not super easy to find all the benefits of the quarantine. So that's your action item, man. We had audio today. I think we had audio the whole way through, which is amazing. If you guys have any questions, or you had any questions as we were going, I hope you dropped them down below. I can't get to them right now while I'm doing this because I haven't figured out the technology to do that while streaming for you guys without totally losing my focus and being super distracted. But I will check them out here right after we shut this down. In the meantime, if you guys want more content, there is a link in Facebook and Twitter and YouTube that'll take you right to the podcast, right to the YouTube channel. There's links to all the free swag, like the fat loss formula. You can download that and start working on those quarantine shreds, today. And I just really hope this brought you guys a little bit of value, man. Honestly, do this every single day, and I'd be willing to bet in about 3 weeks you're going to feel like $1,000,000. So I'll see you guys next time.